Next at Melbourne Arena, it's time for men's third round action. Please welcome from Italy, Fabbiano. And his opponent from Bulgaria, Grigor Dimitrov.
Good afternoon to you from the Melbourne Arena here, and a man with a very large fan base. Often Robbie Koenig of the female variety.
He's a good-looking boy. I have to keep the eye on him. We'll be keeping a beady eye on him today as well, but more so from his tennis perspective. We'll put him under the microscope and see what he's got to offer up. It's been a different day today. Bit of rain has been about, showers, so hopefully it is clearing. It has cooled down, but of course still muggy out there, isn't it?
It is. I'm Nick Lester, he's Rob Koenig, introducing ourselves here on what should be a good one. Good crowd in as well. Dimitrov, of course, always pulls the crowds in, and plenty to ponder here. The roof is open, as you can see for now. It's been a day, as Robbie says, where we've had a bit of a mixed bag. There was a strange incident on Rod Laver earlier on, where Roger Federer actually started with the roof open. They warmed up and they closed the roof halfway through. So I guess one of those challenging days for tournament organisers as well, to know exactly how to play it. Yeah,
and they always want to play it as an outdoor event, Nick, so they'll do whatever they can and push it as close as possible to playing outdoors and not having to close the roof. Of course, if the weather intervenes, we've got that added advantage here. 3 covered courts.
7 and 9, we're using the net device and obviously electronic review. So if you want a challenge, just make it clear. 25 seconds shown on the board. 5-minute warm-up. From when I say end of warm-up, you have a minute to be at the baseline ready to play. Any questions? Would you like Rod Laver, Grigor, or ANZ?
Rod Laver's fine.
Perfect. Perfect. Great. Rod Laver.
Sure.
Serve? Okay, if we could just have a photograph facing this way.
Rod Laver, the choice for Dimitrov. He won the spin, as you heard, and this will be a first meeting between these two players. What an effort it's been from Fabbiano to get a couple of good wins. A very big one in the previous round against Riley Opelka, overcoming a 15-inch size differential in that one. That was a heck of an effort, coming through 6 in the third in one of those breakers, of course, those new tie breaks in the final set here, first to 10 points. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the Italian looking to reach the second week of a major for the very first time. He's one of those guys who's small in stature, spent a large majority of his career playing at the Challenger circuit. In fact, his career record at ATP level in total is a little shy. But have you seen much of him? And if so, what impresses you, Rob?
I haven't. So hopefully I'll be impressed today. But incredible set of wheels in him, like all Italians. Great defensive skills. And a wonderful competitor. If you want to make it on the Italian junior scene, you better know how to compete. You speak to anybody who goes and plays junior tennis there, and they're a tough bunch. They call them tight, but fair, I'm told. And there's a lot of people who can play well on the clay there. So in order to come through those ranks, you're one heck of a competitor.
Yeah, just 19 wins at the highest level and 40 defeats, but it's a different record for him at challenger level. 165 wins, so you're getting an idea of the sort of level he's been comfortable at for the vast majority of his career, and a career that spans some 6 or 7 years. A little longer for Grigor, at 27 years of age. Of course, that outstanding season that he produced in 2017. Last year, I think it's unfair to say it was a backward step last year, Robbie, wasn't it? A number of problems. The ranking obviously dropped down. He failed to defend some of those big tournament wins that he had. And this year, I guess for him, he's looking at it saying, OK, I've got to reset and I've got to start moving in the right direction again.
And sometimes it's easier when you've got all those points hanging over your head. Winning Cincinnati the year before, of course, a World Tour Finals was another big one. He didn't even qualify for the season-ending finale, so he didn't have the chance of defending those points. But, you know, I think that sometimes can take a bit of stress off of you as we have a look at Alison Hughes.
Yeah, in your view, was 2017 a career highlight for him? There were players out injured at the time.
Yep.
Should there be a slight asterisk by that season in terms of where his level's at? I mean, how do you see it?
Level's a different story. Asterisk, no, because I think one of the biggest skills as a tennis pro these days is the ability to remain injury-free. In a sport that's become so physical, the way you look after your body, being able to compete for 11 months, I think is a skill in itself, just like it is hitting a good serve or being able to hit a good forehand. You can be the greatest at all of those. If you can't take to the match court, it means nothing.
There's Danny, and of course a fairly familiar face in the box as well, Andre Agassi. They've been Andre's been helping out, we're led to believe, for about 4 or 5 months. I know you're pretty close to Danny. Have you spoken to him at all?
2 minutes.
What do you think Andre's bringing to this team?
I don't know, maybe some experience of having been there and done it, and perhaps he's hoping to feed off of that knowledge that all these super coaches have. Sometimes a player feels in order to get across the line at a major, just like Andy had that perception for so many years. He wanted to hire somebody who had been in a similar sort of situation as him. And of course, Ivan Lendl was the perfect guy because he had failed at the first 4 or 5 occasions in trying to convert those major finals. And Andy could identify with that because Ivan eventually got across the finishing line. But Grigor hasn't, and he'll be hoping that Agassi can bring that sort of experience.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dimitrov will certainly be hoping, as we look at Fabbiano's team, he can channel some of the form he played here in 2017, because that semi-final, that run to the semi-finals and that match he produced here 2 years ago was probably some of the best tennis we've ever seen from Dimitrov, Rob.
1 minute.
Yeah, no question about that. And I think when he's playing his best tennis, 2 things are happening. Obviously, the movement is spectacular. But most importantly, I think he is using it forehand well and coming in successfully. I think since then, one of the biggest Achilles for him has been a second serve. Guys have been able to jump all over it, serving too many double faults at crucial junctures and matches. And the opponents have been quick to ram that down his throat. And it'll be interesting to see how often this guy goes after the second serve of Dimitrov, because that would be front and center of my game plan when taking on the Bulgarian.
Big day in the young career of Thomas Fabbiano. I say young, 29 years of age now. Wins over Jason Kubler, as we mentioned, in the opening round, and then Riley Opelka, the 6'11" American, in round 2. I actually popped out to watch the final set breaker. It was a great atmosphere out there, one of the outside courts, absolutely jam-packed late in the evening. One of those great atmospheres you get in the first week of a major. One of those outside courts really was intense, and Fabbiano produced an excellent finish.
First set.
Cut the big man down to size.
Grigor Dimitrov to serve. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Players are ready.
So Dimitrov, a warm favourite for this one. We'll see if he can justify that tack.
Play. Love. Love.
Fabbiano right on the bubble in terms of just making the cut here for the main draw. Ended last season at 104, did the Italian. Very sweetly struck.
40 love.
How would you like to see Dimitrov play this sport? Because it's often a topic of conversation. I was talking to Roger Rashid a lot last night about it in terms of his former coach. When he's playing his best tennis, how is he winning his points?
Yeah, serving well, one-strike tennis. When he's got his opponents under a little bit of pressure, he's got to come in. I think the longer he hangs around in rallies and gives quality opposition a chance to find his backhand, that's when he's playing with fire.
Game, Dimitrov.
So, opening hold very comfortably for the 20th seed here this week.
I mean, in all fairness, you know, last season he had some tough draws, Nick. I think we have to keep that in mind as we have a look at the win predictor here. That's going big on Dimitrov. You know, Monte Carlo, he played some good tennis. Nadal beat him there. Fernando Verdasco on 2 occasions. He got Raonic and Nishikori when they were coming back from injury. Rankings were low, they were unseeded. You know, those are rough draws.
Especially when your confidence is a little low, right?
Yeah, double whammy, right?
I
mean, Malik Jaziri in Dubai was a match that he would feel, you know, he should do better there. Jeremy Shardy got him in Miami. Again, off the back of a couple of early round losses, Shardy then becomes a tricky customer because we know Jeremy's got a massive serve and forehand. You can't get into a rhythm against him. It's amazing when you are struggling for confidence how those tough draws follow you around. You get the likes of a Nishikori and Raonic early in the draw and back-to-back Masters 1000s in Madrid and Rome. You got Stan at the US Open and at Wimbledon, remember?
It's unfortunate. So he's not going to get too many free points out of his serve, that's for sure. Just 5'8", Fabbiano. Played point. And he could do with a few more of those if he's going to have success in this match.
40-15.
Nice to see him come in eventually. I thought he should have come in off the first good strike.
Too dissimilar in sort of stature to Fabio Fognini, isn't he?
Absolutely, he's cut from the same cloth.
Game, Fabbiano.
Big occasion for Fabbiano. Obviously, he's not used to these sorts of stages, and it's a pleasing start. Browsing through the notes, interesting point that in that match with Riley Opelka, he played a 32-point tiebreak. Did Fabbiano? That is the second. That is, excuse me. That is the second longest in the Open era in terms of tie breaks played here at the Aussie Open.
At the Aussie Open.
15 love.
The longest, for those that are interested, came in Andy Roddick's win against Joe Wilfried Tsonga 12 years ago.
So
30 love.
We speak about family influences and creating champions, and of course for this guy it was no different. Began to play tennis at a very early age with his dad, Dimitrov, who was a tennis coach. His mother Maria, a former volleyball player.
Game, Dimitrov.
High number of first serves being made so far, and the Bulgarian
Dimitrov
dropping just to 1 point.
First set.
His first couple of service games. He's ahead, early doors. Affable character, isn't he?
He really is. Of course, back in 2014, he was named as one of the most marketable athletes in Europe.
So not afraid to put in the hard yards either, so I'm told.
Time.
Three Italian men into the third round here. Fabbiano along with
Please quickly, please,
Fanini and
Seppi.
Seppi.
Thank you.
That's the highest
Any
number
for now.
of Italian men in the Open era to reach the third round here.
Behind
So
the
Azzurri have had a good tournament so far.
Love.
Is there a reason he's not able to defend that backhand as well as some others with a single-hander? I mean, obviously, someone like Wawrinka seems to be physically a little stronger, doesn't he? It's a different sort of swing, I know that as well, but... Why is it so attackable, that side? Is it size of the swing? Is it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he gets bullied a little bit on the backhand. Gets too far behind the baseline. He needs to stay closer. So his contact points was about 1.5 meters behind the baseline on average last year. And I think he's got to get his weight going forward. That's key. You can have as big a swing as you like. If that weight is going backwards, it's not going to help you.
Game, Fabbiano. 2 games all, first set.
To make the quarterfinals in Istanbul last year, that was his best run at tour level.
Fault.
It's a little bit of a case in point of what you were suggesting.
15 love.
Nice early strike there.
You know, the moment that weight is going forward, it gives you so much impetus to your shot.
30 love.
I believe that's one of the things he was concentrating on in the off-season. Going to come over the backhand a bit more, stay closer to the baseline on the backhand side.
Thirty, 15.
We've got 75, 80 kilos moving in that forward direction with the large muscle groups. You start to generate much easier power.
Forty, 15.
Serving. Good placement.
Dimitrov leads 3.
Team watching on as their man moves ahead 3-2. The Melbourne Arena this afternoon. Partly as well because there's not much going on the outside court up until about an hour or so ago. So we are playing there now, which is good news. We'll get a rain-free afternoon. Two, three.
Love 15.
Yeah, my sources have been telling me that Dimitrov was playing really well in practice before the start of this event the week before. Of course, you've got to translate that into good match play. That's the key. There's no glory in practice, Nick. But without practice, there's no glory. So they do go hand in hand. You want to bring your best tennis where it matters. That's out here.
Is this the time he makes his move in this opening set? It could well be.
Game, Dimitrov.
Fabbiano throwing in a couple of unforced errors.
Dimitrov leads 4.
Not doing himself any favours in that game as Dimitrov gets the first break. Agassi was actually asked in the press conference a couple of days ago how he saw Dimitrov playing his best tennis. Just touched on. He talked a lot about the offensive side of things, playing to his strengths, which I guess can be said for a lot of players, to be fair.
the way he falls to the left there after a serve.
Love 13.
I was just actually looking at the second serve points won last season. He was at 47%, Dimitrov. Puts him well down the list, as you touched on.
I think it's when he hits his poor serves, when he's falling too much to the left, he's got to get the weight going up and forward in the direction of the serve.
It's very well attacked from Fabbiano, who is responding nicely in this game.
Love 14.
You can see he's not even cleared the service line when he's hit that serve.
Thank you.
He's got nothing on it. It's not going forward enough. That's why he's in trouble.
15-14. Please.
Second service barely gone over, Nick.
Yes, that was short. Lacking in pace as well, just 135. That was tentative as well, wasn't it?
Fabbiano.
Really didn't commit to the forehand on that occasion.
New balls, please. Ball change.
Dimitrov is broken.
Dimitrov leads 4 games to 3. First
Back
serve.
on serve. Italy, who's did reach a career high number 70 in the world a couple of years ago. He's been unable to maintain that position. Spent much of last year with the 3 figures by his name in terms of his ranking. Hiding place at the challenger level these days, Rob, is there?
None whatsoever.
Very, very competitive. Well, Fabbiano just didn't see it. I don't really think he meant it. What a wonderful strike this was here.
It wasn't that close to the net, was it?
No. Just a misread. To get out of trouble with a
30-15.
unlikely looking shot.
Sometimes I'd like to see him shorten up that swing on the forehand. Because if your timing is just a little off with that big swing of his, that happens. Keep it compact. Use the pace of the oncoming ball, a la Roger Federer. Nice and compact. See what happens when you use that oncoming pace effectively.
Some serve. Not going to get too many of those, but a first ace draws him level here.
Just in time now. This was going to be key for Fabbiano to try and keep it close. Just put a bit of scoreboard pressure on Dimitrov, and the fact that Fabbiano has played a fair few tight sets lately, he'll be match hardened.
15 love.
He'll be liking his chances in these tight situations.
I'll tell you one thing, he's certainly had some. He's going to feel like he's got a little more time on the ball after facing 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛's serve, because that is a rocket. I think 𝕼𝖆𝖃 served 72 aces in that match. See over 5 sets. So I'll take that into consideration. Good look at that one up the line. That is an aggressive second serve. It's a little easier at 40 love to be able to just loosen up a little.
Dimitrov leads 5 games to 4 for sets.
Dimitrov, a game away from this first set. Red, green and white of the Bulgarian fans scattered amongst the throng here on the Melbourne arena. Fabbiano serving to stay in this opening set. Oh, that's the way to take it early.
15 love.
This is the kind of tennis we want to see Grigor playing. Half volley stuff with the power angle. Beautiful head position, so nice and still.
Legs for serve. 30-15.
Very nearly was an uncomfortable pickup. He was a little fortunate. Just whether he misread it or... What's encouraging from Fabbiano's perspective, Rob, is actually when they're getting into the baseline rallies, he's winning at the moment the majority of them. He's taking it on.
Game, Fabbiano. Five games all, first sets.
Wild one to end the game.
Love 15.
It's a good change-up.
15.
It's one way of getting out of that pattern that he's been struggling with.
Look at the height over the net. That's the key bit. He's brushed up the back of the ball.
Outrageously good. Struggle to see a better shot than that on this court all day, I would have thought.
15.
Easy now. Easy. Diego Schwartzman's going to be texting you soon, Nick.
Okay, I missed that one.
But this is world class. Oh, that is a touch of genius. How about that?
On a big point as well. Fill me in on Diego.
Diego's one better. It was 30-all when it happened 5-all.
Okay. To dig that one out on the channel this evening.
Yeah, 5-all, 30-all first set. Round the net post, but flat out. Not like Tsonga's last night. End of his range. Bulleted it. Corner to corner. On his forehand.
It's a big second. It really is a bit of a mixed bag so far. 172 Ks that one, and it elicits the error. So 6-5. We stay on serve. Far from this guy, isn't it? Good, the bad, and the ugly, really, from him over the course of 35 minutes. Fabbiano maintained a slightly more stable level. Serving at 5-6. going on here? He's taken a good 3 or 4 steps back to return this second. Look at the spins and the differential between the two so far.
Yeah, 60-40 split with a slice versus a topspin backhand for Dimitrov. I think he'd like to see that number up a bit. He'd like to come over the backhand a bit more. Fabbiano, as we expect for a two-hander.
30 love. Out! 40 love.
Fabbiano taking it to Dimitrov. This is good stuff.
6 games all per set.
Positive intent.
Both players will receive an additional challenge.
And I always think that is really intimidating when you're a higher-ranked player. The guy's just coming at you. It's almost showing you no respect or no fear. That would be a better word.
Yeah, and he's done just that. Into the breaker we go.
1-0 Dimitrov.
Dimitrov actually had a pretty good tie-break record last year, 15-9, considering the disappointing season he had. Fabbiano last year was below 50%.
Did you read Jeff Sackman's piece on tiebreakers? It was very interesting, the research that he had done.
Not yet. Oh, and again, he's produced a remarkable pickup.
2-0 Dimitrov.
In your life, have you seen anything like it? What an athlete! It's jaw-dropping stuff.
He's thinking what everyone else is thinking. Let's fill me in briefly on the tiebreaker situation.
2-1 Dimitrov.
Yeah, so there's no advantage whether you're a big server or not. You always return to the mean. And you have a look at players over 4 years, and Jeff will tell you that it's the only thing that matters in a tiebreaker is skill set. Servers don't have an advantage. Good returners don't have an advantage. It's just skill. John Isner in 2017 had incredible numbers, Nick, and then, following year, in 18, also nearly as impressive. In fact, he was below his medium. So you will have seasons in which you excel, but you'll also have seasons when you're below your average. Big one to watch this year, of course, is Taylor Fritz. He was top of the pile in 2018, best tiebreak numbers. So we'll have to see how it shakes out for him this season. That is Grigor in full flow.
Tangible when you talk about tie breaks of holding your nerve, haven't you? There's no numbers on how you deal with the emotional side of the sport. You can look at stats all day long, but certainly when the pressure intensifies, you're going to have full belief in your game, full control of your game.
Fabbiano.
Puts a finger to his head, as if to say that was a very silly decision.
So lucky. Got away with one there.
For all.
It's such a risky approach shot.
He had a very good look at it, didn't he? Covered it. It's behind it. Couldn't convert.
Dimitrov.
Fabbiano return didn't lack intent. Backhand that was once again failed him. Fabbiano do there.
5-all.
Dimitrov would have fancied the pass, but made it difficult.
It is such an old school approach that was. Likes of Pat Rafter or Stefan Edberg would have given that one the thumbs up.
Dimitrov.
Weak backhand. I just wonder if he was pondering as he lined it up cross court in his mind where Dimitrov was going, whether he was going to run around his backhand, but only he will answer that. Set point for the 20th seed. Well, that was hard going. Well, that was hard earned from Grigor Dimitrov. The team are up out of their chairs.
Dimitrov leads by 1 set to 0.
Certainly time of concern throughout the course of the set. Dimitrov, though, takes it 7 points to 5. Doesn't take long, of course.
Yeah, not these ones that used to take a while on Rod Laver Arena, but they put in a new mechanism there. It's been 3 years in the making. Close in 5 minutes now instead of 25.
Some Bulgarian fans in the house. Yes, of course, the French Open, the only major that's playing catch-up now in terms of roofs. Court number 1 at Wimbledon will be all good to go this summer. And I'm sure it'll be scorching hot for the 2 weeks at the All England Club. That tends to be the way when they get a new roof. It was very hot, of course, last summer.
Fabbiano to serve.
US Open. Got a couple of roofs as well. So down here in Melbourne, they've set the standard. And as we've said on a couple of times, they have raised the bar for others to follow. Fabbiano to start the second.
Love 15.
We'll see him just open his shoulders a little more in this set. Took a fair bit to breach his defences. Fabbiano throwing
15,
everything
13.
at Dimitrov in that point. First double of the match from Fabbiano. Oh, too good. Trademark shot on the run on the forehand. There aren't too many players better than him in that department. That is a good start to the second.
Second set.
That's exquisite. Hope Mark Petchey's watching this one. Had the discussion last night about this pattern of play. And Mark was suggesting, well, Robbie, you have to go to the forehand to keep him honest on the backhand. But I say don't come in. Use it as a rally ball. Players on the run, on their forehand, can do so much with that shot. Be patient, reset the point, or maybe come in on the cross-court shot there from Grigor. Come in down the line, make him posh off his backhand, his weaker side.
Disparity, let's face it, between the two sides from Dimitrov is pretty big, isn't it?
Yep. So that pattern of play applies even more, I think.
Love.
Oh, how nice was the shape on that one. Had to make the adjustment. This is outstanding.
He plays his best tennis when he's got this shape, Nick. Be it on the backhand or the forehand. The shot is not struck hard. It's struck with accuracy. And it's the depth that's done the damage.
40 love.
I think sometimes Grigor tries to hit his forehand too hard.
Again, Dimitrov.
Strong start to this second set.
Dimitrov leads 2-love second set.
Let's have a look at the win predictor and how things have swung. Just over a 10% move in favour of Dimitrov, and not a lot of love for Fabbiano, is there?
Yeah, we were explaining that in the previous match that we did on this court with the man 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖆𝖛 and Schwartzman, Nick. That the odds are so good of going on to win when you win the first set. Of course, it didn't happen for Diego. Thomas defied the odds in that matchup.
15 love.
It really is the double whammy effect. The player who wins the first set, you have a look at their win-loss record, it goes up significantly, and the player who similarly loses the first set, theirs go down significantly, so that's where the big swing comes in.
all.
Himself in position. Doesn't quite have the aggression off the backhand or consistency off that side. Quite as comfortable taking it on.
Unloading.
40-13.
Big point, that important point. Goes down a double break here. The set just about becomes a write-off.
The Italian is on the scoreboard in the second, but it's an uphill struggle.
Dimitrov leads 2 games to 1, second set by 1 set to love.
Standing. Man, you know, peak 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛, the ball striking is as clean as anybody to play the game, Nick. When he hits it, it stays hit.
Looking trim as well, isn't he, Thomas?
His decision making was good. There's no panic today.
15 love.
Quarter-finalist here last year, remember, was 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛.
$40-15. Game, Dimitrov. Dimitrov leads 3 games to 1, second set.
He was in this position, of course, in the first before Fabbiano mounted a comeback.
Love.
Over that one. It's because I was caught in between 2 mines there.
$40-15.
It's a big second.
Why not? 40 love up, try and close out the game. Send a message.
Fabbiano.
So another good hold as he continues just to
Dimitrov
snap at the
leads
heels, really, of
3
Dimitrov,
games to
but he
second
needs a little
set.
more than that.
By 1 set to love.
3-2.
That's kind of akin to the rivalry that a hammer has with a nail of late.
Careful there.
Love 15.
Too big.
Love 13.
Dimitrov not happy with that.
First forehand again, just not getting the length he would have liked. Talk about height and net clearance. That's what I think Dimitrov's really got to think hard about.
Couple of break points for the Italian here. He's missed that as well.
Dimitrov is challenging the ball. Right baseline, the ball was called out.
Despite the fact he's challenging, he doesn't look particularly optimistic about this. That is the reason why.
Game Fabbiano.
Fabbiano breaks for the second time.
3 games all, second set. Dimitrov has 2 challenges remaining. Love 15.
It doesn't look the most natural shot that front, does it? Slice.
amazing when he gets the arc on the ball, how effective his ground strokes are. And he hits the topspin backhand high like that, he gets the short forehand from his opponent. The shape on most of those topspin shots is what did the damage, created the depth. Good stuff.
Bouncing back well in this game.
15-13.
It's a tidy 1-2 punch, though.
Yeah, that pattern of play has been honed on those clay courts in Italy.
There's a fair few of those, aren't there?
That's just about it.
Fabbiano is challenging the ball on the right near sideline. The ball was called in.
I like the fact that he waited to come in behind this approach rather than the initial one, but has he got enough revs on it, Nick?
Oh!
Oh, he has!
30-14.
99% out. Is 100% in our sport.
So Fabbiano has 2 challenges remaining.
Just a couple of meals.
Gave him the thumbs up there. I don't know if you saw that. It's good sportsmanship. Very close to the line.
The guy on the left knew a thing or two about a couple of early backhands, didn't he? Goodness me. Talk about holding the baseline. One of the best ever in that department.
Took it to the next level, didn't he? All started with his dad feeding him balls and popping them into the old ball machine. Forcing Andre to take it on the half volley from a young age.
Stop it! Athleticism of the very highest order. And look at his response. A point that will live long in the memory of those that witnessed it. Special stuff here on the Melbourne Arena.
And by 1 set to love.
And that is why so many people enjoy watching this guy play. His core coverage is almost second to none. Fireworks he produces. Tough year last year for him, of course. So looking to set his stall out early in 2019.
Fabbiano challenging the call. Right near sideline, the ball was called out.
I remember he is defending a quarterfinal showing from last year is Dimitrov. Lost to Carl Edmund in the quarters.
𝕽𝖆𝖆𝖉𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛. Fabbiano has one challenge remaining.
$360 points to defend. He's a quarterfinalist in a major. $720 if you make semis. 1,200 as the runner-up, and of course 2,000 if you win it.
Nicely done from Dimitrov.
These guys trying to
Dimitrov
double their
leads 5
points
games to
tally.
3 second sets.
They've already secured 90 points. While making it through to around a 32.
Massive for someone like Fabbiano, isn't it? I mean, you talk about Dimitrov obviously defending points, then comes into it. But for someone like Fabbiano, if he wins this match, it's a sizable jump. Looking likely though if Dimitrov continues to hit the ball in that fashion. 85 Fabbiano in the live rankings after his couple of wins here.
With good backhands down the line will hurt Grigor if he doesn't get that nice and deep. Again, you've got to bring out that heavy high looper.
Miss from him in a situation like that, seemed to be there, but didn't quite have the control. Indecision there. Didn't look like it, did it?
I just think it's the wrong shot. You get down on one knee and rip that backhand. Very difficult to hit a slice of a ball that's struck that flat and that deep. It's a very good off-the-ball movement here from Dimitrov. Again, that inside-in approach. At least he covers the cross court, but see how he's moved back there, Nick. That's key.
Tough one from there.
Fabbiano.
So didn't miss by too much.
That was an oil painting of a backhand. How's this for a master stroke?
Advantage, Fabbiano.
Plenty of energy left in Thomas Fabbiano still, which is good to see.
Dimitrov leads 5 games to 4 second sets. And by 1 set to love.
Down a set in the break, excuse me, at 5-4. In position here to move ahead by 2 sets to love. Serving to take himself to that position.
15 love.
So percentage has been excellent in this set. 75.
30 love.
Allowing Fabbiano any kind of hope here. Three unreturned serves from Dimitrov in this game. Take the Bulgarian to set point. That is a very nice way to shut the gates on set number 2. And look at that. There's a bit of frustration in him, no doubt of that.
6 games to 4.
He's giving his team a little bit of heat.
Dimitrov leads by 2 sets to love.
The heat now firmly on Fabbiano. 2 sets to love it is.
I just don't want to show my tape, that's all. Okay, but I'm just saying, what if I have a tape and I don't want people to see it, so that's all allowed? I mean, you can make an exception for that on that end? No?
Not really, no.
Okay.
It's got to become equipment out of adjustment. If you were soaking wet, then it would be different. But obviously the climate isn't going to be that. So.
That's fine.
Okay?
Ready? Switch your head. 3, 2, 1.
What was that all about?
He wants to go to the locker room and change his shirt, but I don't think he was allowed to leave the court. And I think you only get to do it twice a match. He's done it already. And he didn't want the people to see the taping on his back for whatever reason. And Alison Hughes was just saying that he's not allowed to leave and he has to do it there. Look carefully through his clothes. You can see some K tape across his back. They'll be pretty happy with proceedings. 2 sets to love lead.
Yeah, some good skiing in Bulgaria this time of year. That's your thing. Kind of popular skiing destination, actually, in the last 10 years or so. Bulgaria, yeah.
Oh, really? Bensko. I think it might be one of the...
I think you might be right, yeah. I'm not a skier, but I'm told it's an excellent place to go these days.
It's out of the ordinary. You always hear about the likes of Austria and Switzerland. France, not too bad. Italy.
Yeah, I think you might get a bit more change out of your 10 euros for your dinner there in Bulgaria than you might do in those parts of the world, Rob.
Yeah, après-ski is expensive in Europe, isn't it?
It certainly is. He's not worried about that. Plenty of money in the bank, of course, for Grigor. So what he's hopefully more concerned about is chasing big titles. He's already got one of them, of course. It's Nitto ATP finals a couple of years ago. Will that be a career highlight for him when he hangs his rackets up, I wonder? Or is there more to come?
Well, Mike Cation and I were talking 80s music a little earlier today when Berdych and Schwartzman were on this court. The DJs are breaking out one of the all-time classics, Bon Jovi. Of course, Grigor is more than halfway there.
Time.
Good shout.
It's won 2 out of 3.
And the bad news is Thomas Fabbiano has never come back from 2 sets to love down. He's been in that situation too often. But
Third set.
he has got
Fabbiano to
a
serve.
mountain to scale here. There's the Italian.
Oh. 15 love. Love.
Done it. And, it was a little careless.
40 love.
It's not a likely play for second serve. Dimitrov, something else to think about. Of course, we know likes to slice the return a fair bit. Oh, get out of here. I mean, this guy, and his athleticism, are just remarkable at times.
Well, we've shown plenty of enthusiasm for this one, because it deserves it. Diego Schwartzman, watch out. Not quite round the net. It's certainly as effective.
Juice.
Fabbiano. Found a way by, just a second ace for Fabbiano. Third, sorry.
Urgency.
First game, third set.
He's competed well. It doesn't matter that he's down 2 sets to love. There's the pattern of play that I like, hitting that inside-out approach shot. This diagonal movement, not sideways, forward. He's completely committed to that shot. It's a winner or nothing. But he knows odds are heavily stacked in his favor.
And Rob Koenig here with you. Rob is currently booking the 2020 ski trip to Bulgaria. If you're wondering why he was gone quiet in the last 3 minutes. How are you getting on there? Found some good results.
I
actually don't think you believed me, did you? How good it was.
Oh, it is. It's fantastic value for money.
Learn something new every day.
It's not quite the same value for money he's getting in Monte Carlo, is it?
No. It's a good return.
30-15.
He's on his toes.
This is just what you want. To work the momentum, quick service holds. Put the pressure right back on the opposition.
Game Dimitrov. New balls, please, ball change. 1 game all third set.
See 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛 and Dimitrov both. They're playing in a couple of days if he finishes it here. Who impressed you most of the two from what you've seen?
Thomas 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛 impressed me. The way he went after.
Yeah, unforced error from me actually there. Just looking at the draw, my bad. Of course, 𝕽𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖛 in a little further down the draw. The winner of this one will face Stefo or Seppi. So, unforced error from me.
Okay.
He's done well. Good hands.
We've certainly played some good matches on this very court, haven't we, Nick? Yeah, beat
15 love.
Maybe, or was it on centre? Lost a tight one to Kyrgios. I think had a couple of match points. He's up against Stefo in the third. They're a set apiece there.
Interesting to see if 𝕼𝖆𝖆 can back up the win over Anderson today, won't it?
30 love. Fabbiano is challenging the call on the right far sideline. The ball was called out. (30-15).
Wild again.
14,
to be behind
15. Fabbiano has 2 challenges remaining.
Quite in his movement where he wanted to there. Just to get himself behind the ball. A flat backhand he has. Got a hold of that one either, so Fabbiano with the lead in this third set. It's a long way back.
2 games to 1 third set. Dimitrov by 2 sets to love.
Edges ahead, 2-1.
Time.
Some good stuff going on around the grounds right now. Maria Sharapova and Caroline Wozniacki are 3 apiece in the third over on Rod Laver. Sloane Stephens done a tight one with Petra Martic over on the MCA. 7-6, 6 all. As Robbie mentioned a moment or two ago, Andrea Seppi now up 5-2 in the third on Frances 𝕼𝖆𝖆. Set all.
15 love.
It would be such a key shot for Dimitrov if he wants to do well this week and for the remainder of 2019. Good backhand volleys. His technique is watertight. I love the way he attacks it. Doesn't wait for the ball to come to him. He's reaching for it. Got a very neat game as Thomas Fabbiano.
Tell you what, the Italians have got a good group of players right now, haven't they? When you think of Fognini, Seppi, Cecchinato, we haven't talked about him, of course.
Berrettini.
Yes.
He's good. Watched him play in Auckland again, up close and personal. Showing that he can play on a hard court too. And he's young, Matteo. Big boy. Beautiful. It's just lent on that. Use the pace of the oncoming serve.
Come on. 40-13.
This man a little older, 29 years of age. He's Fabbiano. In his early 20s. I think he lost in the first round here, 𝕽𝖆𝖏𝖏, didn't he?
Game Dimitrov.
Here's the approach shot.
2 games all third sets.
He lost in the first round from 2 sets to love up. That's a gut wrencher. And Filip Krajinovic.
Love 15.
Just kept him a little deeper, Fabbiano. He's got caught behind the baseline by a considerable margin.
All. Both.
Fabbiano did well, but again Dimitrov looking annoyed at the miss. Did a lot of their pre-season down in 𝕽𝖆𝖏𝖃 again. Dimitrov.
He's got his skates on.
Dimitrov is challenging the ball.
Or is he?
Cancel the challenge.
No, didn't think he was. Change of heart.
Yeah, Thomas Fabbiano did him a favour there, so don't bother.
Fabbiano leads 3 games to 2 third sets.
3-2 to the good
Dimitrov
as he tries to mount a comeback here. Three-two, the third.
Let for serve. Love.
Start to this game, the Bulgarian.
It's the backhand I don't like of Dimitrov. It's relatively flat. He's tried to hit the cover off of it. That's where I want to see the one with shape. Give me the dipper. Don't be scared of a two-shot combination. Dipper, then the ripper.
Oh, what a brilliant shot. Held his position so nicely.
40-15.
Wonderful depth. That time he has got a bit more height. It's a racket and the strings come into play. That's such an athletic event, isn't it?
Seemed to get a little caught out of position early in the rally, but made amends, did Dimitrov.
3 games all, third sets.
Important as well, Robbie, of just getting this done now, isn't it? And these majors, we talk about it a lot, but get off the court now. We've got an hour and 54, 3 sets. Get yourself refreshed for stiffer challenges ahead. Something Sasha Zverev struggled to do last night from a winning position. Interesting to see if that has any impact on him.
Love.
And you have to remember when matches go long as well, Nick, you know, a 5th set, it takes a lot more out of you. Even though it's 1 set, it's not the same as... It's not the same as the 1st set.
15 all.
You're fatigued. You're still trying to play at a high level. So I always say that the fatigue factor is much higher in a 5th set than what it is in the 1st. It's like running a 400 meters. The first 10 or 15 seconds isn't nearly as tough as the last 10 seconds. That's when all the damage gets done at the end.
15.
The lungs are burning, the muscles are strained to the max.
Certainly saw evidence of that last night with Jeremy Shardy, who faded quickly in the 5th. Nothing left, really.
All.
It's interesting there, the difference between the first two forehands of Dimitrov. The first one actually struck pretty well, but it was short, had no effect. The second one, it was a slight miss hit, which actually gave him the height and the depth. Got the error.
Break point for the Bulgarian. Tennis from both. So much hard graft going into it. And Dimitrov has made a breakthrough here in the third. He is tracking
Dimitrov
the
leads
last 16 impressively. 4-3 it is.
By 2 sets to love.
Slightly hesitant to say it should be enough, but he's certainly given himself the best possible chance now here. 2 sets and a break. It's been a positive performance. He's looked quite angry at times, Dimitrov, with his level. An urgency to what he's trying to do out here. He knows that he needs to
Thank you, players are ready.
Start to get some results at the start of the season. Put him in good stead. It's tidy.
15 love.
Did attack that well with the feet, didn't he? That's the critical part. It was only 139, so it was a bit lightweight, but nonetheless. Indoors here due to the inclement weather. Judging by what we've heard so far, it does make it a little heavier, the conditions indoors.
Game
That is a mistime forehand from Fabbiano.
Dimitrov leads 5.
Had a good week.
3rd set.
Doing his best performance at a major. Looks as though it's going to end here.
Love 15.
The shape on those forehands, not trying to hit the cover off the ball. Suffocating Fabbiano with length.
15 all.
Comfortable, isn't he, when he's done that?
15. Technically so sound. He's won 17 of 22 points at the net. That's a healthy 77% conversion rate, Nick.
Game Fabbiano.
But knowing he volleyed that well, that would have been encouraging him to come in more to the backhand of Dimitrov.
Skips to the chair. There's some energy about the Italian. He'll need to call on that right now, as he has to break to keep himself in the tournament. Give me a grade for Grigor Dimitrov today, to this point of what you've seen.
I think overall, probably I'd give him a...
Thank you. Players are ready.
7 out of 10. Very well. I just haven't been happy with the depth that he's been getting off his ground strokes. I want to see him shape the ball a little bit more, Nick. And definitely like to see more of that.
30 love.
Love it when he comes in. 15 of 18 net points won. So, in fact, it's Fabbiano who's coming more. You know, we think of Dimitrov as an offensive player, right?
40
that one was sprayed and he doesn't like it. Dimitrov at match point here. Into the sweet 16 goes Grigor Dimitrov.
6-4.
Delight for his support camp. Thomas Fabbiano's had a good run and he was fun to watch. Certainly wasn't too far away today, but the 20th seed it is. It's into week 2 here in Melbourne. 7-6, 6-4, 6-4.
Yeah, another win in straight sets always helps. And as you say, it's so important to go into the second week of a major with the tank filled right up. It's only going to get better. Learn more about yourself and where your game's at, what you're doing well, what can be improved upon. And it's important to analyze it with honesty and scrutiny, because sometimes winning can be a poor teacher, Nick. Just got to be careful of those inside-in approaches. And what a great tournament it has been for Thomas Fabbiano. Really enjoyed watching him, the way he's competed, great attitude. And I hope to see him on the tour on a more regular basis.
might well do. If he can translate this sort of tennis to a higher level. So Dimitrov a winner. Let's hear what he's got to say for himself.
Congratulations, Grigor. You were certainly popular with this Melbourne crowd. Not only a straight sets win, but some very entertaining winners for the crowd today.
Yeah, different conditions. I love when the roof is closed, and I was just very happy that I'm going to play a match today. I knew even if it was a bad weather, it was amazing. But guys, thank you. I mean, it's such a warm welcoming every time I come to Australia. I mean, this is when the year begins for me, coming to Australia. So I love playing out here. Hopefully I can keep going that way. Hopefully my game gets better and better. You know, solid winning straight sets today. So moving on.
Not only do you have the crowd support and of course your coach Daniel, but you have a certain Mr. Agassi looking on. Just what's it like having his support?
I wish I could put these things into, I mean, that sentence into words, but just him sitting out there, watching my match, giving me his time, the most valuable thing on earth for me, that says it all. I mean, I'm very thankful to each one of my people. I mean, simply, everybody's been so amazing throughout this period of time, especially in the past months. We've struggled a little bit here and there with things, but everybody got, you know, kept it together, stuck by me, and pushed me to be where I'm at today. So, of course, thanks to the fans, thanks to the team, thanks to my family, and I'm on a good path right now. So, thanks, guys.
Finally, your next opponent, either 𝕽𝖆𝖆𝖔𝖘𝖑𝖆𝖛 or 𝕆𝖆𝖆𝖆𝖆, they haven't been as lucky with the weather. They've been out on court 3. The match is still going. They've had some rain interruptions. As you said, you love the roof. I'm tipping you were glad to be in here. I
mean, thank you. That's always nice to hear. Thank you. Yeah, it's. I mean, whoever is on the other end, it is on the other end. I just don't want to, as I said, I don't want to think too much on what's next for me. Just want to enjoy that win. Go back there, rest a little bit, and then sort of focus on what's to come. And whatever it is, whether outdoors, indoors, I'm going to be here again.
Congratulations. We wish you the best of luck. And the lady in the crowd who just shouted down, I'm sure she wishes you the best of luck too. See you in the 4th round.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
So Grigor Dimitrov has booked his spot in the round of 16, and he'll face the winner of 𝕽𝖆𝖆𝖆𝖆 and 𝕆𝖆𝖆𝖆. Those two are slugging it out right now as we speak.
Well, the girls love Grigor, don't they? They just love Grigor Dimitrov, and why not? Because he's such a good guy. He's so good for the game. He had a tough year last year. Coming into the year, he was what, 3 in the world, won the ATP finals in London, and then came in, and everyone thought, okay, now it's time. Just didn't have the year.
Is Agassi going to make a difference? Agassi being in his corner.
I think that Agassi, the thing that Andre will teach Grigor is real toughness, like real grit and toughness. And you've got to have grit if you want to win a Grand Slam and you want to keep going and get further. You've got to have that sort of a personality. And Grigor is such a nice, kind man, and I think that will be the difference. Not that Andre isn't, but he will teach him. You got to grind some out. And so, nice to see. It's always just nice to see Andre around.